Welcome to Module 1. This is actually a two-part module. This is going to be like the first part, I guess, or section. Basically, this first module, we are going to be talking all things community and foundation. We're going to build you up for a really strong foundation, so as we move forth with the actual program and the modules, you've got a really strong foundation to build yourself off of. So I'm really excited about today's training. I'm going to try to take this a little slower than I usually do. I tend to talk really fast and then get out of breath and then kind of lose what I'm doing. So we're going to slow it down. This might be a little bit longer of a training, but as you guys know, this is at your own pace, these modules. The way this works is as you go through the modules, preferably I'd like you to have your homework or your inspired action exercises completed by our first coaching call. So this module will coincide with our first coaching call and we'll talk everything about what we're discussing today. So I'm going to move myself over here. And I think I'm going to try to make this full screen, but let's see. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Okay, so this is the Aspiring Creatives Bootcamp, as you guys know, and this is Module 1. So the goals of this module are for you to create a strong foundation to build your business off of, as I stated, know who your audience is and how you can serve them, and for you to create an online community that you can establish yourself. So the way my method works, how I believe in building our businesses, is that it should be created off of the idea that we're working towards creating a community. I don't think it matters what industry we're in. We're all trying to build a community, right, so that we can build our businesses. And even though you guys, most of you are bloggers, you might not be in the stage you want to, quote unquote, turn your blog into a business. I'm always going to refer to your blog as a business because I think just having that mindset of treating it as a business allows you to separate that from your personal life, separate that blogging is going to interfere with your personal life, and it just gives you a better mindset of treating your blog a different way. So we're going to actually talk more about mindset and personal development and all that in Module 2, but just so you guys know, anytime I am referring to your blog as a business, I don't mean it, quote unquote, that's your goal, but I want you to start treating and talking about your blog as a business, okay? Okay, so Section 1, or Module 1, again, community building. These are just the goals I have for you to achieve from this first module. As I stated, this is kind of part 1 of community building, and the second video will be uploaded shortly after this one. So Section 1 of this entire module, we're going to talk about a strong foundation. And creating a strong foundation is really vital for any business, right? Your readers can sense if you're not quite sure about yourself, about your business, or your messaging might seem kind of unclear. So this part of the program is where I want to help you get unstuck and focus on creating a really simple foundation. Okay, now I know a lot of this work might be kind of redundant because it is. I'm sure a lot of you probably might have a good grasp on a strong foundation, but if we're gonna, build ourselves up, I want to start from, the ground up. We want to build a really strong foundation, and I just want all of us to be on the same page. So there's 4 pillars to a strong foundation, and that is your mission, your vision, your purpose, and your defined targeted audience. Again, you guys might have heard of this before, and revisiting these 4 pillars is just going to help you further gain the clarity you deserve. So even though you might have already done these exercises, you might have already heard of these concepts, just revisiting them is going to help you get unstuck and focus on what your true purpose really is, right? So let's talk about mission. So your mission statement states exactly what you do and how you do it, right? But before we do that, we need to know why you do that, right? Kind of a fun play on words there. Your mission statement, you're actually going to create in this week's Inspired Action. So I'm going to ask you like a series of questions that are going to help dig a little deeper into your why, your story. And these questions are going to kind of be similar to your welcome kit. So you guys can use your welcome kit that you saved to guide you during your first week's exercises, okay, when you're building on your mission statement. And I really think a lot of people tend to overcomplicate and overthink a mission statement. So it really becomes a hard task. And I want you to overcome this bump of, it being a hard task. I want it to be easy for you. And it's really simple. So try not to think too much about this when you're doing it. Do take some time. You don't have to figure it out all in 5 minutes. But it just shouldn't be hard. It should make sense. It should be clear. It should be easy. And it should feel really aligned with yourself, right? So a simple formula is here on the slide. You guys can go ahead and read that. So this is very basic. It's not something you absolutely have to go by, but it's just a basic formula that can guide you towards creating your mission statement. So an example off this formula would be, I teach female bloggers how to grow their blogs with online workshops and blog posts. While it's kind of boring, obviously, it's very clear, right? It's clear and convincing. I teach female bloggers how to grow their blogs with online workshops and blog posts. You don't want to overcomplicate it, but you do want to make it sound good, right? So during part 2's training after this one, we're actually going to talk about brand messaging and creating some words, some sayings, some taglines for your brand that you can integrate into your actual mission statement. So I know that was a really hard part for me personally, and I know because so many other bloggers out there have like these great taglines and these great mission statements, it's sort of intimidating. So I really want you guys to just forego any stereotypes or thoughts you might have had about a mission statement before, and really just strip it down to the bare minimum. And then from there, you can build on adding in those taglines and those fun words into your mission statement. So another point is, I don't want your mission statements to just sound good. They need to be backed up, right? So just because you say something doesn't mean it's actually true, right? And I'm not saying that any of us do this, but we just want to make sure when we're creating our mission statement that it's something you can follow through with. So when I say that I help female bloggers grow their blogs, I need to make sure that I'm delivering on that somehow, right? If you're a travel blogger, maybe you teach middle-aged women how to travel on their own, travel solo, right? So you want to make sure that you have some experience in that and that you're going to be able to follow through on that promise, right? So the second pillar we're going to talk about in the grand scheme of creating a strong foundation is having a vision. And I really think this is necessary. A lot of people might not deem it necessary, but it really is going to give you a clear sense of direction towards your goals for your blog, right? Creating a mission statement is relatively easy, but you just want to make sure it's specific and an achievable goal, right? You want to dream big, but you don't want to dream too big, right? I don't want to knock you down, but I don't want you to feel like you can't dream big, right? So just kind of be realistic with yourself, but push yourself when you're creating a vision. So my vision for my business in the next year would to create a membership site, and for me that's an attainable goal because that's a year's worth of planning, and that's big enough that I'm really pushing myself because it's scary for me. So when you're developing a vision statement, this can always change. I just want you guys to have a vision for yourselves that's going to guide you in the right direction. So we have some sort of idea of what direction you want to go in, right? So purpose, and we're going to talk about purpose more in detail in part 2 of module 1, your brand story. So basically, what is your purpose? You've told me how you do what you do, but there's a why, right? Your purpose statement needs to bounce off of that mission statement and tell us why you do what you do. So And like I said, we need to keep it really simple. So my purpose is to teach and to lead. That is my higher purpose. And again, we can play on some words and some brand messaging in part 2, but really just try to think about why it is you do what you do. So if you're a fashion blogger or a food blogger, there's some deeper reason as to why you started. Like maybe, you started as a hobby and you're pursuing some bigger goals. Really dig deep into why that is, because all of us have some sort of deeper story, deeper meaning behind why we started doing what we did, right? If I pause, that's because I am taking a drink of water, sorry. Okay, so for the last pillar, and I know you guys have probably seen this a dozen times, but an ideal reader avatar is essential, right? It serves a really good purpose for your blog, and it's absolutely necessary. If there's one thing you absolutely need to know, it's who your targeted audience is. And while you might have done this exercise before, revisiting it is not going to hurt. So during this module, we're going to be working towards crafting 2 ideal reader avatars for you. And then along with your homework, I'm also going to ask you to do some market research so you can reach out to these people and really get to know who your audience is, right? So you can't just serve anybody. You need to be specific on who you serve. So in your inspired action exercise that I'm going to walk through with you later on, you're going to be crafting exactly who it is you serve, and I'm even going to ask you to put a face with a name, or in your head put a face with your name, right? It helps you visualize this person, and it's also a fun activity to do. Basically, you don't want to serve an entire audience. You want to serve one problem, right? And that problem is specific to one person, one specific person, and that's your ideal reader avatar. If your messaging and your content's too broad, you're not going to be able to reach anybody because, again, your messaging's just very unclear. We're not sure what you're talking about because you're not being specific enough, right? So you need to craft blog posts specifically for these ideal readers, meaning your page views go up because defining your targeted audience is who is looking for. They are looking for you, right? They're out there whether you know it or not. So second, knowing who your ideal reader avatar is allows you to craft paid offers, programs, products, services that you can specifically tailor for them. So of course we're going to talk about, your paid offers and your products and monetization, all of that towards the latter end of the program. But like I said, if we can set you up now for a strong foundation, including a defined targeted audience, then it will be so much easier for you to attract these people knowing who they are. You can't attract something that you're not sure of, right? So let's get really specific on who you're serving. Here's just an example of an ideal reader avatar I've done in the past. I need to update it, obviously. This is Olivia. I put a little picture of her, right? So you don't have to do this if you think it's weird, but I think it's just great to be able to visualize a person. So she's an intern at a journalism organization. She likes to spend time on Instagram. She listens to podcasts, books, and joins wine nights, right? I think a lot of us are like that. She wants to integrate her passion for writing into a life where she can travel at her own leisure. She enjoys her job, but doesn't really want to be tied down. Instead, she wants to write for herself and not ever have to worry about having enough money. Her pain points, these are really important. She has the skills to create a life she loves, but she struggles from the idea of quitting her job with bills and student loans and her lack of support system. They don't necessarily agree with her ideas to quit and travel. So if you guys know me on a more personal level, Olivia here is sort of similar to me. And your ideal reader can actually be similar to your story because you have that experience, you've gone through that. So it's okay if, as you're going through this and you're creating your reader avatars, that this person actually sounds like you. That is totally okay. So our second part of building a community, and if you guys probably need a break from all this information, so I'm going to take a drink real quick. We're going to talk about establishing your online presence. In order to create a community you show up for, we want to establish a strong online presence, right? We want people to find you. We want them to know who you are. Usually we compare having a really strong online presence with having tremendous amounts of blog traffic, right? So a lot of people think that if they have more blog traffic, that means they have a better online presence. So I kind of want to switch that mindset around. So I want you to know that establishing your online presence is going to, in the longer run, bring that blog traffic in. Okay? And throughout the program, you guys are going to notice that I don't focus on numbers. Growth is measured based on your decision. It's up to you how you measure your growth. We all measure success in different ways, so that's why I don't want to focus heavily on the numbers and the data. And while they're important, I have a really strong philosophy that focusing purely on the numbers isn't going to get us anywhere. We want to think more in terms of mindset and personal development and strong foundations and all that great stuff. So the concepts of a strong online brand are your visuals and your messaging. So your brand visuals are pretty much the visual aesthetics of your branding, right? So when we think of an online brand, or any brand for that matter, you immediately think the visual aesthetics, right? Your typography, your logos, your colors, etc. And your brand identity is how you represent your brand through messaging. So basically, you are your brand. I want you to have this concept stuck in your brain the entire time we're going through this, and I want you to always remember this. Having this mindset that you are your brand allows you to, one, simplify everything about your business, because I think it's easy to think that our brand is something else or not a version of ourselves or this other version of ourselves, but deep down, you are your brand. You want people to know the person behind your brand, and it helps them relate better. And it's better for them to know that there's a person behind the brand other than just like a business, right? So crafting a really strong online brand is going to help you with the following. It's going to help you stand out from the crowd and differentiate yourself from everyone else. It allows you to become that leader in your industry. And when I say industry, I mean if you're in travel or fashion or motherhood or lifestyle. I don't believe in niches. So when I talk about industry, I mean specifically what you write about. And I don't think you need to niche down to a certain category, but I want you to become a leader in whatever industry it is that you're blogging about. Having a strong online brand is it's going to allow you to go into alignment with your authentic self. Sorry, sometimes words are hard for me right now. So it's going to allow you to feel better about what you're doing. It's going to allow you to simplify everything. And again, get in tune with who you are as a person, your authentic self. And overall creates that stronger foundation on the forefront. To have a successful online brand, we've already kind of discussed the strong foundation, but it's a combination of a strong foundation, your visuals, and your messaging. So your branding and your foundation, right? So again, we kind of talked about this already, what your visuals are. Most of us know what those are. Messaging is how you attract your defined targeted audience, and it's going to allow you to speak directly to them. So we're going to create content towards Module 3 that allows you to speak directly to your audience. By knowing who they are and creating a personal brand, you're just going to be a powerhouse. You're going to be able to attract those people because you have really strong brand messaging. And again, we're going to talk more about this in part 2, but I want you to start thinking about developing messaging that you can share today with your audience that you can pull from your personal brand story and develop content that really just speaks to these people, your audience, right? And you're going to create a copy bank of like brand words and taglines so that you can develop this messaging in a really easy way. So you're not sitting there staring at your phone or your laptop or trying to write down content and you're really struggling with that. So once you have a really strong personal brand story and messaging, it's going to be really easy for you to develop content later on. You guys probably always hear me talk about online community, and it's obviously the biggest part of this training. We're talking about community, right? So my ultimate goal is for your readers to continuously come back to you. You want them to stick around. I want you to become the it girl in your industry and become the leader that you're meant to be. So as we're working through this program, think about how you want to show up for your audience and develop a community. And your community can exist in any form. So if that's your email list, your Instagram, your Facebook, whatever you want it to be, there's no rules, okay? I want you to know that first and foremost about me is I don't believe in rules. There's methods and strategies, yes, but when it comes down to it, I don't believe any hard set rules. So I want you to start thinking of ideas of the type of community you're going to create and how you're going to show up for them based on your purpose that you give me in your inspired action exercise. So, let's see. I'm actually going to back out of this. And there I am. All right, okay. So, kind of just ignore that for a second. I'm going to walk you through the homework, and then I'm going to talk about this market research survey. So, your inspired action exercises include Module 1's workbook and then the market reader survey. So in terms of your inspired action exercises, I would like you guys to email me in these workbooks before our first coaching call and to post your market survey in the Facebook group. So before we talk about the market survey, let's go through the workbook together. And I don't know how to make myself stick over here. I don't like just talking on a video because I feel like I need to be there. I want to be there with you guys. All right, so you guys are going to download a copy of this from this platform. So here I'm going to just kind of simply walk through the homework with you so I can explain it. So it pretty much covers everything we just talked about in the training, and it goes over the 4 pillars. So I'm going to ask you some questions. This is editable. You can edit it. You can start typing. And I know Ashley had some problems last time. I don't know if you have Adobe Acrobat, but if you do, it should automatically save as you're typing. Just make sure you're saving as you go. If you prefer to do pen and paper, that's totally fine too. You can print it out and scan it if you'd like. I just want to save you some paper. So I'm asking you a bunch of questions. They're really similar to the welcome kit, but it's going to help you with your mission statement, your vision statement, defining your purpose, your targeted audience. We're going to go through some questions so you can determine who she is. And then you're going to do 2 of them. And then there's a spot for a market research survey. So I'm going to head back to the slides over here. So along with this exercise, like I said, I want you to create a market research survey. So I'm going to share with you guys an example of my market research survey. You can use Google Forms or Typeform to create this survey, and I want you to send it out to your email list, your community members, people on Instagram, direct message them and say, hey, I'm doing some market research for my blog. I'd love it if you could answer a couple of questions for me, and keep the questions to no more than 15. I'd say like 10 to 15 is a lot. But 10's a good enough number to be asking them. And you'll see in my survey kind of how short or long these questions are. Some of the questions are really easy. They can just like click like yes or no, or click different options. But before you send out your surveys, I want you to post them in the Facebook group so we can all see what see what your survey looks like. That way I can kind of look through it and see if there's anything else you should add. And then from there, I'm going to ask you to send out this survey to your readers. And this is going to help, again, with your messaging, with your foundation, who your defined targeted audience is. And it's just really going to help you throughout this entire program and kind of pushing you out of your comfort zone if you haven't reached out to people directly before. So this is going to be fun. So that's a part of your exercises for this module. Again, in the workbook itself, you can list out some questions that you want to ask your audience, and then we move on to the brand visuals. And here I'm asking you for visual branding, and it looks like I missed a little the little bottom part of this last page. It's okay. So that's going to cover Module 1, Part 1. And then later on, you're going to get Part 2, which talks about personal branding, and your storytelling. So this is going to be a lot of work in the beginning, so that's why I'm uploading this early. And then you'll get the second one, and hopefully in like 2 weeks we can have our first group coaching call. And yeah, so I'm really excited. If you guys have any questions about the training or the homework, anything at all, just let me know about Module 1. And after this, I'm going to work on Part 2, which will be uploaded TBD. I'll see you guys later.